Caramel Macchiato. It is undoubtedly the most popular flavored coffee of all times, especially popularized by Starbucks. But what exactly is Caramel Macchiato? Is it caramel with coffee and milk? Today, we are going to unlock the secret to a perfect caramel macchiato. We are going to make 3 different caramel macchiato: hot caramel macchiato, iced caramel macchiato, and finally caramel macchiato frappe. For the recipe today, I am going to make them in 12 ounces cups, and I'm using these glasses here. These are good for both hot and ice. For the coffee today, I'm going to use these coffee beans from Vienna. This is courtesy of Prem Frishkaffee. This is a blend of Ecuador, Honduras, and Brazil, chocolatey, and nutty taste. Now let's unlock the secret to perfect caramel macchiato layer by layer. What makes caramel macchiato taste good is the vanilla that's added to it, not the caramel. Not everybody likes caramel, but everybody loves vanilla. Who doesn't love vanilla? Raise your hand, let me know. Caramel just to drizzle on top of the drink. Let's start with the first one, which is hot caramel macchiato. Very simple. It's going to be milk, vanilla syrup, and of course our double shot of espresso. So I'm going to use 18 grams of coffee beans in. So we have 18 grams of coffee beans in here. Make sure the sides and the ears are clean, and now we're going to pull our shots. We're going to aim to pull those shots within 24 to 29 seconds. For the caramel macchiato, I would suggest that you steam the milk using cappuccino-like consistency. That is because I'm going to present it in a way which is easy to replicate, especially if you're doing it for your coffee shops or even for home. Okay, time to assemble our drink. Now, just to make it a little bit more decadent, I'm going to decorate the side of my cup here, even though it is hot. But because I'm using a clear glass, it just makes perfect sense to get these there, okay? And I'm going to add my vanilla syrup, which for this, because it's a large cup, I'm going to add about 2 pumps. You can make it 3. I'm going to use 2, okay? And then I love this because you can actually close that and just swirl to combine. I'm going to pour my milk high, just so that I don't get the foam so much. Okay, and I'm going to leave some of the foam in my jug here, and let's pour our espresso shot. Okay, and finally, because there is some kind of dirt on top here, I am going to cover this up with my remaining foam in my jug, and then decorate it with caramel sauce. So the moment you drink your hot caramel macchiato, the first sip would be that of caramel, and then slowly mixing with the vanilla and your coffee. Hot caramel macchiato, the premium way. The taste of the vanilla is quite strong. Now, some people might think that is caramel. It is not caramel at all. What makes it delicious is the vanilla. For iced caramel macchiato, I did promise that we are going to break this down layer by layer, and the secret to a delicious iced caramel macchiato, especially commercial ones, is the use of 3 different types of milk. So we are going to make use of fresh milk, evaporated milk, and condensed milk to make this iced caramel macchiato, which I consider a dessert. It has to be a little bit sweeter and creamier. So this 3, plus of course our vanilla syrup, the coffee, and of course our caramel sauce. I'm going to make this in such a way that we're going to make the milk foam instead of putting the milk foam on top. So we are going to make our milk foamy. So I'm going to use my milk here, chilled glass here, 15 ml of condensed milk, and also the same amount of evaporated milk. I'm just going to combine it with my milk. stir, and the milk has to be cold so that when we foam it, it will be creamy and also foamy. I'm going to add my vanilla syrup here. Now, this is only 12 ounces cup or glass, and so I'm going to use only about 15 ml or 2 pumps of my vanilla syrup. Now, because this is already sweetened with condensed milk, you can cut your cost by using only 2 pumps of your vanilla syrup, and this drink will also be equally good at a lower cost, okay? So I'm going to use my milk frother here to froth the milk. So many of you might already know that I love using my milk frother, but make sure it's the electric one, it is more robust. And now I'm going to keep this in the chiller whilst I pull my espresso shots. We use the proportion of the coffee, 18 grams of coffee beans in, and using 1:2, so it's about 36 to 40 grams of espresso out. Now it's time to assemble the drink. This is now my combined milk and vanilla syrup here, and I'm going to decorate the rim of my glass with some caramel sauce. It is going to be a very decadent treat. Caramel sauce along the sides, and let it cascade down the sides of your glass. Going to add some ice. Okay, pour the milk. Espresso shots. Pour it slowly so that you get that beautiful layer on top. And now, because I'd like it to be more decadent, I am going to use my whipped cream. If you haven't yet seen the video tutorial on how to make whipped cream using a whipping cream dispenser, then do check it out. And finish it off with some drizzle of caramel sauce. And you have a decadent looking iced caramel macchiato. It's time to give it a try. Wow, that is absolutely to die for. The creaminess of the milk, because it's been combined with 3 different types of milk, and the strong taste of the vanilla. Well, in fact, this is just a hint of that vanilla. And of course, we did a drizzle of the caramel sauce along the sides of vanilla, mixing with caramel and creamy milk, and of course, those perfect espresso shots. 2 drinks down, let's make our final one. And for this, because it is a frappe, or it's a blended drink, I'm going to use a blender. I need to pull my espresso shots, and for this one, because it is going to be blended, it will be diluted with a lot of ice, I am going to use the same size of glass here, 12 ounces, and so we are going to pull an even longer shot of espresso. For my frappe, I am going to use 1:3, so I'm going to pull about 54 to 60 grams of espresso using 18 grams of coffee beans. Okay, now I have my 18 grams of ground coffee in here, and it's time to distribute them using my needle stirrer here. Tap along the sides. Use a leveler. We are going to aim again to pull this within 35 seconds. So this is a longer shot, longer and stronger. And I've got my double shot of espresso here, lungo rather. So now it's time to assemble our drink. For this one, I'm going to use less fresh milk because I'd like it to be very, very icy. This is a frappuccino or a blended drink. So I'm going to need 2 ounces of my fresh milk. There you go. And then for this, I'm also going to add about 15 ml of my sweetened condensed milk. So the same amount, and also 15 ml of my evaporated milk. If you do not want to use this, you can skip this, but then make sure that you add more vanilla syrup. It's a question of whether to add your condensed milk and your evaporated milk to make it flavorful and also creamier. But if you want to skip this, you can also use just plain fresh milk, but you have to use more vanilla syrup. Add it into here. And because this is going to be diluted with a lot of ice, I'm going to need 3 pumps of my vanilla syrup. 1, 2, 3. You can adjust this as you see fit. I normally prefer to mix everything in before I add my espresso, which is quite hot, because if you put the hot in here, your ice will melt very, very quickly, okay? And for the ice, I suggest that you use this portion cup, which comes in 12, 16, and 22 ounces. So use about 1 portion, about 12 ounces, equal to the size of your glass, okay? And then now I'm going to add my hot espresso shots here, and we are going to blend. Now, usually for a frappe drink, I would recommend that you use a frappe base, just to make sure it is creamier and that they all bind together and there are no separation between the milk and the coffee. But for this time, I'm going to skip my frappe base and just make this simple, plain and simple. And let's see how it looks like. Okay, blend. So blend it about 30 to 45 seconds. Now let's assemble the drink. We are going to decorate the cup again with drizzles of caramel sauce, just to make it look more appealing. As always, I always say that the eyes eat first. So if it is looking good, most likely it will taste good. But if it's not looking good, you already lose your customer just by looking at your drink, okay? Now, let's pour our drink in here. Okay. Finish it off with whipped cream. For the whipped cream, you don't really have to put a lot. You just need to put some whipped cream there. Otherwise, it'll be too creamy. And then you add drizzles of caramel sauce, more caramel sauce on top. And you get your deliciously looking Caramel Macchiato frappe. They all look very good, but I think at this time I would say my iced Caramel Macchiato is the perfect one, perfect looking one. But let's taste this. For this, you don't need to really stir because it's all blended. If you want to start by having the whipped cream, that is perfectly fine. Taste of the coffee is still very strong, and it gives you that vanilla caramel combination, and of course with the sweetness of that condensed milk. Absolutely perfect. There you go. I hope that you have unlocked the secrets to the perfect caramel macchiato with me today. If you have any questions about any of these recipes, do let me know. In summary, I used the same amount of coffee beans, 18 grams of coffee beans for all of these 3 drinks, using the same size of cups, 12 ounces. But for my hot caramel macchiato, I use 1:1, about that. So 18 grams in and about 20 to 25 grams of espresso out. For my iced caramel macchiato, which still looks as good as when I first made this, it was a combination of 3 different types of milk: my fresh milk, condensed milk, evaporated milk, and of course the vanilla syrup, layered with some caramel sauce on top and along the sides. And of course we used the proportion of the coffee, 18 grams of coffee beans in, and using 1:2, so it's about 36 to 40 grams of espresso out. And for my caramel macchiato frappe, I used exactly the same amount of coffee beans. Again, it's a combination of 3 different types of milk, caramel sauce, vanilla syrup, and the proportion of the espresso shots here were 18 grams of coffee beans in, and I pulled a longer shot, 1:3, so about 54 grams to 60 grams of espresso out. The whipped cream makes this look attractive. Definitely worth trying. Do give these recipes a try at home and let me know how they go for you. If you're making this for your shops, I think that these recipes would be an upgrade to your existing ones. You may find a variation of these recipes in my book, The Basic Barista. For the milk tea, you can also check out my book, All Things Milk Tea. Details on how to order in the description box below. I'll see you again for more of these video tutorials. Stay tuned, Stay safe. Thank you for watching. Ciao for now.